welcome back to week 8 of Donegan's picks. Had a pretty good week last week. We're going to recap that real quick. Went 10-4 overall. Had some key picks. My upset of the week was Packers over the Vikings, and that came true thanks to some stellar defensive play towards the end, and Brett Favre just not having it. I lost the New Orleans game. Cleveland has the past 3 seasons beaten the defending Super Bowl champs, so I should have been up on my research on that, so dropped the ball on that one. St. Louis lost late. San Francisco, Carolina got their first win over San Francisco, so now they both have one win. Pretty much two terrible teams. And Oakland, man, what about Oakland putting a rout on Denver, scoring 59 points, most in their franchise history. That was a pretty big win for them. Let's go ahead and go over this week's picks real quickly. We've got, as our first pick, we've got Miami at Cincinnati. Now, Terrell Owens and Ocho Cinco both had big weeks last week. Yeah, they couldn't pull it out for their team. So I'm going to have to go with the Miami Dolphins on this one. They're going to go ahead and take this pretty easily. Cincinnati, they're a pretty strong team, but the thing is they're not a team. They're just a bunch of strong individual players. And, that's been their downfall all year. Jacksonville at Dallas. Tony Romo, he's out this week. He won't be playing. He's probably going to be out for 8 to 10 weeks. So we're going with the backup quarterback and a subpar running game, yet Jacksonville still won't be able to overtake him. So we're going the Dallas Cowboys on this one this week, probably by only 3 or 7. So hopefully Bueller, their kicker, comes up big. I know he's good on kickoffs. He's been shaky on field goals, but the past couple weeks he's been doing pretty good. So now we've got the Washington Redskins at the Detroit Lions. The Lions are pretty much terrible. Redskins doing pretty good. Donovan McNabb, I think he lights it up this week. So we're going to go ahead and go with the Redskins this week in this tough matchup here. Got the Kansas City Chiefs. What a hot team right now. What a great pick. I got Buffalo, Kansas City. Buffalo, they're not going to do much this year. Probably 3 or 4 wins over the whole entire year. So we're going to have to go with we're going with Kansas City on this one. So the Chiefs over Buffalo at Kansas City. Then we've got Carolina at St. Louis. Predicted St. Louis to win last week with Sam Bradford. Didn't really come through for me, but Carolina is an absolutely terrible team. They barely squeaked by San Francisco. San Francisco has 1 win. Carolina has 1 win. We're going to go ahead, and we're picking the St. Louis Rams on this one. So St. Louis over Carolina. All right, our next pick we've got is Denver at San Francisco. Denver got blown out last week. I don't know how they got blown out by a terrible Oakland team. We need to see a little bit more Tim Tebow, I guess. But Oakland put up 59 points on them. I do not see that happening this week. I think we have the Denver Broncos going to have a nice bounce back week, and they're going to go ahead and win here. We got the Chargers and Tennessee Titans. Titans came off a good win last week, playing with their backup quarterback. Kenny Britt, he sits out the first quarter and then goes off for 227 yards and 3 touchdowns. That was unheard of. One of my friends commented that if he plays that well, then he'll let him beat him up outside of a bar every Friday. So we're going to go with the Tennessee Titans on this one. Vince Young may be back going pretty strong, so we're going to go with the Titans there, representing the hometown team. All right, our next pick, we've got Seattle at Oakland. Everybody seems to be picking Oakland on this one. They had a pretty strong showing last week. 59 points, like I said, was the highest in franchise history. They did it off of Darren McFadden, 3 running touchdowns and 1 receiving touchdown. He had 42 fantasy points for any fantasy points people out there last week. So he's probably a must start this week, especially against Seattle. But I think Pete Carroll, his transition to being an NFL coach again has been doing pretty well. So I think I'm going to go ahead and go with the Seahawks on this one again. So we've got the New England Patriots right here. Minnesota at New England. Minnesota, all the hype surrounding will Brett Favre play, will he won't play, will he? He's probably going to play. But the thing is, he's going to be even more terrible than he was last week because he's not going to be as mobile, and he's probably going to be scared of getting hit again. So the Patriots pretty easily take it to Brett Favre on this one. I say Brett doesn't even play the whole game. If he does, then it's a miracle because he won't be playing next game. So we're going to go with the Patriots on this one. Got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Tampa Bay Buccaneers at Arizona Cardinals. Arizona, like I said last week, one of the biggest letdowns this week. You know, you got Larry Fitzgerald, who he's been playing pretty subpar this year. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they've stepped it up this year, so we're going to go Tampa Bay at Arizona. So then we've got the Steelers at New Orleans. The Saints have been pretty much downright embarrassing this whole entire year so far to be the defending Super Bowl champs. Drew Brees is just looking terrible. He had, you know, 2 picks returned for touchdowns by defensive linemen, and that's pretty embarrassing. That means that you're not doing something right instead of your receivers if you can't even get the ball past the defensive line. So we're gonna go ahead and book this one for the Steelers, one of the hottest teams in the NFL right now. They had a controversial call with Ben Roethlisberger last week that has caused a lot of controversy throughout the league. Actually, every single referee in the league, normally it's just the head ref that's on the conference call each week. They actually brought in every single referee this week to get the calls right. They had a conference call, trying to, get used to these calls. Green Bay game had a couple controversial calls, but that's the game of football. It's human error, and that's how it's going to go. So, we get the Monday night game, a rematch of Houston and Indianapolis. Last time, if you remember, Arian Foster ran all over Indianapolis, had like 247 yards, 3 touchdowns. He basically will not be able to do that this week. They're going to be keying on him. They're going to make him beat him by the pass and not the run. So see Arian Foster. He may break a couple long runs, but they're not going to be too long. He's probably going to be held under 100 yards. And Peyton Manning's going to come back, have a nice week, and we're going the Colts on this one. Now we've got the big matchup of the week. We've got the 4-3 Packers at the 5-1 Jets, and the Jets are doing pretty well this year after their Hard Knocks episode. They've got big hype about Darrelle Revis coming back this week. Supposed to be full strength on his hamstring, so he'll probably be matched up with Greg Jennings. Past 2 weeks, Greg Jennings has caught for over 200 yards and 2 touchdowns in the past 2 weeks combined. So he's been a big play threat. He had a 86-yard touchdown last week. So Donald Driver, his streak ended last week of his consecutive games with catches. He was past 100. I think he's been about the 130s. So, kind of disappointing there. And I think Aaron Rodgers was kind of disappointed. That's what he said in his post-game conference, that he couldn't get Donald the ball. But that's just the way the game goes. As long as we had a win, it was good. So we go ahead and go with my Packers on this one. It's going to be a close game, even though we're missing about 11, 12 starters from the year. But picked up some good guys. I think our defensive line, the main focus is going to be getting some pressure on Sanchez. He's only completing 55% of his passes. So we need to, stop the run with LaDainian Tomlinson and Sean Green. And then also we need to get pressure on Sanchez because he's getting real skittish in the pocket. He's only thrown two interceptions this year, but that's because he hasn't been asked to make the tough throws that he's going to be asked to make this week. So we're going to see, I think, Quarles, our new tight end, is going to come out for a big game. And so also just back to the recap of last week, I made some pretty bold predictions. I made 3 quarterback sacks on Brett Favre by Clay Matthews. And I got the number right, but it wasn't sacks, it was interceptions. Brett Favre last week, 3 interceptions. The thing is, Cutler had to one-up him, and he had to throw 4 interceptions. So Jay Cutler, Lovie Smith, it's just terrible. It was just a terrible showing last week. But Brett Favre has vowed this week that he will try and keep up with Cutler's pace for the lead of most interceptions thrown this season during the NFL. And what's that? Oh, I just got breaking news from ESPN. Even though it's their off week, Jay Cutler just threw 2 more interceptions. So just breaking a news story for you here on Donegan's Week 8 picks. Jay Cutler, 2 more interceptions. That man, you're having a bad year when you throw interception on your off week. So those are Donegan's Week 8 picks, and go ahead and book them.